part 2 from my skirt tutorial, and this one will be coloring and shading. First thing you want to do is add a new layer under your line art layer. Then go up to the color wheel up here and pick your color you want, and you can change it basically any color you want. So here you just select an area you want the color to be in, and I'm just cleaning up it right now by using the box select tool to get rid of any extra color that's outside of the lines. You can also do this with the eraser tool, but this is what I'm doing for this part. Sometimes it's just easier to use the box tool though, because especially you have like straightish lines, it can just like get rid of them like here. It's like really easy just to go in one go instead of just erasing a lot. Okay, so once you're done this, I usually change the color of my lines to match my line art, which you'll see me do soon. So let's just wait until this part is done, and then I'll explain how to do the line art, changing the colors of it. I'm just taking this part and copying and pasting it to the back side because it's exactly the same. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this color by using the dropper. Then I'm going to be going invert colors, then grayscale uncolored paper. And I'm just going to make it a teensy bit darker than the original color. Then okay. Then I'm going to do this with all the lines, so just invert the color so it's white. Click grayscale on colored paper and just okay, since we already have the color chosen. Okay, so once we have this done, it's time to shade the outfit. So you want to make a layer on top of everything, go into your little color option and make the color darker, and then put it around half opacity of what it is. You can also turn the hardness down to 0. Sometimes I do that, but sometimes I don't. So first you just want to draw a line here, and you're just going to follow basically this whole line to kind of create a little shadow that gives it kind of like a 3D effect. You don't have to, this is just a really simple shading and coloring tutorial, so if you know how to shade already, you don't have to watch this step, but this is just like, just easy for beginners really. So once we do this, we're also going to shade down the lines of the skirt. So we're going to take the paintbrush tool and shade down the lines like this. Basically gonna be doing this with every single pleat. It's okay if you mess up because that happens. So once you have one pleat done, it should look something like this. So you're gonna just want to do that with all of them. It's pretty time consuming, but I mean it looks good. So basically you just want to keep doing this for every single one, and then what we're gonna do is blur it with Gaussian blur at 2. You'll see me do it, but I just wanted to explain it earlier just because it's easier that way so you can prepare for what you have to do next. Then usually after shading is when we add the highlights in. But again, this is just a super basic shading tutorial. It's not much to it, and it's just super easy to follow. This is just a super easy skirt tutorial I came up with to help you guys out. So let me know if you have any other video ideas in the comments for just anything, tutorials, speed designs, gameplays. Okay, so now we're just going to copy the front part and then just take it over to the back part like we always do really. So now we're going to go into blurs, then Gaussian blur, and then make it 2, and then okay. So basically now we'll be adding in a new layer for, well, right here is when I'm basically just making sure none of the shading goes outside the lines. So you want to select the outside with the wand tool on your color layer and go up to your shading layer. And here we're just changing the opacity and the little settings here. So this is like how you can make it like darker or lighter and just make it like blend in better. This is what we have so far. So we're gonna add in a layer for shade in now. So, well, extra shade in. So you can add little lines like this to give it more definition. I sometimes do this, I sometimes don't do this. It just honestly depends on the skirt. I like doing it because it kind of gives it a bit more. It just looks better in some cases. Just gonna copy this over like we always do, just easy. Then copy the front to the back. And then we're gonna be blurring it again. Just the same way that we always do it. Just blurs. Well, this time we use motion blur and we make sure, I'll zoom in on this, but you can see how I did it. And I'm just gonna do the same thing. Select it on the color layer, then go up to the shading layer. And then we're gonna Control X to make sure none of the shading is out of the skirt outlines. So then you can change the opacity a bit by going to the little thing in the corner here and then make sure you're on the layer that you're supposed to be. So here, we're just adding in a new layer. This time it's for highlights, so we're making it a super light color of this. So we're just taking the pink and making it super light. Here, you couldn't see it, so we just had to make it a bit lighter. And so we're gonna basically just be filling in this area right here on every single one. You can kind of see this, like the little shade, and it just really helps it pop out more. It doesn't do too much, but it's nice. I went out of the lines here, so hopefully that doesn't make you guys upset, because it bothered me a lot. So yeah, we're just gonna be doing this like how we did the shading for the pleats, except we're not shading the lines, we're shading the inside. So once we finish this last one here, what we want to do is just copy and paste it like we always do. So just copy it over to the left so both sides are equal, and then what we always do is we take the side part and half of the front part and then paste it over. Then just going to take the front part, copy it and paste it and drag it over to the back part because it's the same, so we don't really need to draw it all out again. So now we're just doing it again to make sure none of the shading's outside the line. So you're just gonna select it, go up to the shading layer, Control X to get rid of it. And in this case, it didn't work, so we had to make sure we go back and do it properly. Because I did it on the wrong layer, so that's why it didn't go away. So here you want to blur it by 2. Change it to be a lower, just to make it like not as bright, I guess. And basically this is what you're left with. It's just a super simple skirt tutorial, and I hope you guys enjoy.